Well, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It was a beautiful rainy night last night. There's something about rain hitting a tin roof that just puts me to sleep instantly. It's like the ultimate sleep pill since I was young. I always remember how cozy I used to feel when I could see the gray clouds rolling in and the sound of the rain inside the cabin. So that was really nice. It cleared up just as the sun started to rise, which was perfect. And now it's a clear day. Like, it doesn't look like it will rain, but it's still pretty cloudy, which is kind of perfect for the outdoor work that I'm planning on doing today. But before I get out there and do that, I'm gonna first of all finish this coffee, but I'm gonna hang the antlers as well. I think this is too long of wire, so I might trim it because I don't want it to hang too far down. I kind of want it to just mount to the wall. But as you guys might have guessed, it looks like that most of you voted. It was actually pretty close, but most of you guys voted for where the fake antlers hung, and I kind of agree with you guys. It's a great spot, and it's right above my editing station, so I think it's kind of perfect that way. But yeah, thank you guys for leaving all your comments and helping me decide where to hang these. Can't wait to get these up on the wall. Well, that looks good. I think I agree with you guys. That is probably the best spot in the cabin for the antlers. Feels really nice to have those up after 7 years. And I know every time I look at those up on my wall when I'm working or just going to bed, I'll be able to think of my first buck back when I was 13, which is a pretty special thing. So glad we got that done. Now, I think it's about time we get started on the logs again. So I decided to switch to an axe for hewing this log, straightening it. I'll definitely have to do more straightening on this particular one just because it has a few more bumpy spots and knots. I don't have to go too crazy because in the style of log cabin that this storage shed was done in, there was pretty big gaps in between, so it doesn't really matter because I'll be filling those later. But the other reason is we're still having those generator issues, so we have to be careful how much power we use, just because it's been raining a lot recently and just been cloudy like today. So I don't want to run through the chainsaw batteries too much, since I'll be needing them for the actual notching and finishing details of the logs. But it also gives me a chance to use my new axe, which my future brother-in-law, Caroline's fiance, made for me for my birthday. And it's just a beautiful piece of work. It's insanely sharp, as you guys just saw. And it's a really nice gift. I was really happy with it, and it's good to put it to use. Speaking of them, Caroline and her fiance are going to be coming up probably tomorrow at around noonish for Caroline's birthday, so it'll be nice to see them as well. Before they get up here though, I want to get as much work done as I possibly can, so we'll just keep going after. Right now I think we can start peeling, and then that way I'll be able to see all the ridges and stuff that I'll have to smoothen later, either with this or with the chainsaw. The bark should come off pretty easily. I mean, this is flaky bark, so it's not quite as easy as some other types of trees, but the fact that it dried out a little bit as well might make it a little, rougher. But yeah, shouldn't be too bad. So I decided I'm going to take a bit of time out of this day to clean up the work area. Something I wanted to do a while ago and didn't get around to. Just before I go all in on the building process, I want to make sure that the build site's clean for obvious reasons. Now that I don't have my army of friends to help carry these logs, I'll definitely need a lot more room to do so. I can't afford to be, tripping over this sort of thing. And also just make it look a lot nicer. It'll make me feel a lot better while I'm working on it. I'm not going to burn all of these, although I am going to get the burn barrel going to help with the cleanup in this area, because I think that some of these logs can definitely be used for something. Any ones that are too short to be useful, I'll just burn, and then same goes for anyone that's too rotten to be structurally sound enough to be used for anything else. But I'll definitely make a pile of usable wood and then that'll just kind of sit there. And then if I ever need, a shorter log, anything that's, under 8 to 6 feet like most of these are, then I'll just have them sitting there. Worst case, they just get burnt. But some of you guys mentioned that I could use this for firewood, but maybe outdoor firewood, but even that I don't think I would, just because there's a lot of paint on these, and these cabins were built back in the 40s, so who knows what kind of paint they used. So oh no. Whew. That was close. Ooh, that could have been bad. Luckily there was a tree behind that slowed the fall, and I just went through the camera and it all looks fine. So whew. I need to get a new tripod. The one I have right now is it's a very good one. It's a good brand. It's trusted. We've used it a lot, but it's getting old, and when the camera's sitting on it, it's kind of hard for me to level it properly, because I think some of the seals are kind of wearing out, so it'll start sinking, like what happened there. And yeah, it might be about time for me to get a new tripod, or else I'll end up losing the camera, which is a lot more expensive, and that would not be good. Whew. So happy nothing happened to that. Well guys, it started raining, which as you can hear, Lando doesn't like very much. So I got to move my camera and some of my equipment inside. It's not raining too badly, so hopefully it will clear up and we can keep working. Got to get that camera inside. Wow, this rain's really becoming an issue. It's been raining almost 4 days out of the week for the past couple weeks, and it's been kind of hard to get work done outside. I personally wouldn't mind working in the rain, but it makes it really hard to film, if not impossible, because I don't have a rain cover for my camera yet, and most of my tools are battery powered. But like I said, I don't think this should last too long, maybe a couple hours, and I should be able to head back out. I'm interested to see actually if the rain will make peeling that dry bark off a little bit easier. I guess we'll just have to wait inside. I will have to make a run into town at some point to get more stain for my walls. So then when something like this happens, I have a project to work on inside. There's a few massive projects inside that I want to work on, but I'm kind of waiting for. I plan on staying here all summer and fall, and I've been trying to think of how I would be able to stay here the winter time, which I think would be a really neat challenge for me, solo up here in this cabin. But if I do that, I'll definitely want to finish insulating this whole room, and at the same time do all the proper paneling and stuff on the walls here. which would be a really fun project and make this cabin a little more of a home. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on that. That's a really big one, and it definitely will cost a bit, but I think it would definitely be worth it at some point. Well, that's one log done at least. The rain didn't really make it any easier to peel, but it wasn't too bad on this side. It's more that side with all the knots that takes a while. But yeah, it's good to get this one done. All of these hairs that you see on them will just fall off eventually once they dry. But I'll probably take a torch and kind of burn it off once it's on the cabin. It's not like you're roasting it, there's no fire danger, you're just kind of hovering heat over and it shrivels everything up, and also helps prevent the logs from rotting. So I'll just need to get some sort of blowtorch to do that. Maybe when I'm in town next I'll pick that up with the stain for inside the room. I don't know if I'll be able to get this log on the cabin today, although I would really like to start notching, just because I definitely can't carry this one by myself, and Pete's a bit busy right now, so I'm going to keep cleaning up the whole area. Well, no matter how old these logs get, or how long they sit in the sun, they definitely do not get lighter. Wow, that's a lot heavier than it looked. So all the small pieces like that I'll burn. I'm setting up kind of like a scrap wood pile right back here behind the logs, and I'll decide what to do with that later on. Whew. Well, it's starting to get a bit later. Time really went by fast. I was in town again, dropping off my uncle's boat to get some engine repairs, but also to see if I could source some parts to get this barge going. A barge is, a necessary item if you're going to be living, off-grid or on an island, especially because on an island, you can't really get heavy materials across on a normal sized boat. So if you don't have one yourself, or at least are in contact with somebody that has one, then you're kind of in a bad position, or you'll just have to do many trips to haul over whatever it is you're hauling. So we've been trying to get this one going for the past while now. Ever since we first moved here, this thing has kind of had some issues. It's really old, so that's one thing. But the engine used to run when I was a bit younger. It only stopped a few years ago, and we haven't really figured out why. We've checked a few things, and I think we'll have to just replace a few of the parts, and it should start up again. For now, we are just using the legend tied to the side of the boat, which you saw in the last week's video when all my friends and cousins were up. We just had the boat tied to the side and we use that, which works great, but it's not very, first of all, fast, even though barge never really is, but it's very hard to maneuver. That's the main thing. Is reverse, like, boats don't generally have much reverse power, so stopping this heavy of a machine, especially when it has so much weight on top of it, can be a pretty hard thing to do. This is about to fall over again. So I'm waiting to hear back from them of what they think. It should just be like a solenoid or something that we need to replace. But the other thing about this that you guys saw, we were pumping water out of it, and I'll show you guys a bit more on that. But the reason we have to do that is there must be some sort of like hairline fracture somewhere in the hull that's under water level, and that just slowly leaks. It's not like this thing wouldn't sink even if it did fill up with water, but it definitely sits really low, and if you loaded it up it probably would sink, which would be very bad. So every week or so we have to bring that fire hose out and empty the boat, but we are kind of looking into how we could fix that so then this thing is just our own little floating fortress and doesn't have any of those issues. One of the ways would be to get an underwater welder, although that'd be extremely expensive, and the other way is if we lifted it up out of the water and then welded it, which is also expensive, but we'll figure it out. It's definitely worth it because this machine is just so useful for us here. So this compartment that lifts up like this is where the water's filling. So right now there's no water inside of it, but whenever there is, we lift that open and put it down and pump from there. There's one in the front that also kind of fills with water that we pump out. This probably sounds like it's a really big issue, but like I said, it doesn't sink. It's not like this is a dangerous machine. It's just that it gets a lot heavier, and if it's parked in a spot like this and fills up with water, then it will just sit on the ground, won't be able to move, and then we'll have to pump it out again. So at some point it will be nice to get this fixed, probably sand all this down, put new wood, buff it down, and we could probably make it look pretty much brand new, which would be fun. But the last thing I need is another project, so I should stop talking about it before I get too excited with the idea. The nice thing is I think I should be able to stay on the island for the next 2 weeks without having to leave, hopefully. When Caroline comes up, we might do some hikes, which is that's not a problem. That'll be a lot of fun. But other than that, I should be able to be up here and work on everything a lot more. One of the reasons why in last video I said I don't really like going into town is, besides the obvious things I talked about, is just it takes a lot of time. It's not even necessarily a lot of work. It's just a lot of time that goes into running an off-grid island like this. When we had our whole family up here, you could distribute a lot of the day-to-day life jobs amongst the 5 of us, so it was a lot easier. But now that it's just me and my brother, and we both have our separate channels working on things, it takes a lot of time out of the day just keeping everything up and running, which I haven't been filming much, but I think I'll start to show you guys a little bit more of what life is like up here and what goes into actually living off grid. And I think that would be a lot, like, pretty interesting for you guys, and let me know what you think, just in between, you know, keeping the gardens maintained and cooking with the vegetables that come from it, and, you know, doing hikes and fishing and sourcing food and stuff, because I love this project and working on the cabins, but I want to show you guys more of what it really means to live off grid. So let me know what you guys think of that, and if there's anything that you guys want to see or are interested about, and I'll definitely try to include those in future videos. But yeah, I'm looking forward to my time up here without having to leave, and I'm just kind of settling back in since I've been moving around so much, getting that island feeling. There's a certain feeling when you're up here for a while, you know, a weight gets taken off your shoulders. It's a pretty, you know, amazing experience that I'm very glad for. Just, you're not really thinking of what's going on in the outside world or any of the troubles that most people and we had to deal with when we were younger, growing up, you know, in a normal lifestyle. So you just are 100% focused on what you need to do that day, and getting your food and keeping your power going and building log cabins. So it's a really awesome feeling, and hopefully I can share that with you guys. So this is one of the old logs from the original cabin that I'm gonna cut up and start burning. I'm not even going to try to save this log for anything, just because it's so rotten. This is one of the logs that really just fell apart when I first pushed it off the cabin. But before I do that, I might cut off this section just to keep as like a reminder of the style that I'm going to be doing the cabin, because this piece here really shows how they did it with this style compared to the style that our family cabin was done in. It does leave bigger gaps in between, but that's not too much of an issue, since this isn't going to be a cabin that anyone's living inside of. It's just going to be a storage cabin, although we will fill those gaps either with pieces of wood or with something else later on. But yeah, it's pretty neat the way they did this, kind of like a triangle going one way and then a triangle going the opposite way. Caroline and Matt ended up arriving a little bit earlier than Peter and I were expecting, which was a nice surprise and perfect timing, as Peter had just made a delicious meal with enough for all of us. I'm so thankful that we were able to have the two of them up and celebrate Caroline's birthday together at the island. Yep, family gift. It's too big to wrap, so we're just using a nice robe.
The excellent wrappings provided by Dan.
What do I do? Just lift it off?
Sure. It's not, it's a gift, so it's...
Aww, a Yeti cooler.
The little 24.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's good. That had like smoked salmon and stuff in it, and it was really good.
You ever do like a boiling pot, and then you just throw it whenever you want?
Yeah, that's what we want to do. Like
That'd be a good
Especially
camping
after we
right,
harvest.
it would be a great camping thing. It's just
As we were finishing our meal, the rain clouds rolled back, revealing a beautiful sunset. With an almost perfect weather forecast for the next week, I'm really looking forward to seeing what adventures we can get up to with Caroline and Matt while they're here at the island, and to continue working on the log cabin. Thank you guys for watching this week's video, and make sure to stay tuned for more upcoming adventures as I share my life on the island. And as always, a special thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my Patreon channel. Your support really means a lot, and it helps me to be able to keep making these videos every week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week.